What's up, everybody? This is Andrew coming at you with a very special video. I just received 2 loot boxes and I want to show you how my experience went. First of all, I want to send a big shout out to the homies Rare Munchies and Lost Loots for sending me these loot boxes. I tagged them in the description. Go check them out. And without further ado, let's get to these boxes. Starting over with the Lost Loot side of things, the very first thing I pulled out of the box is something called the electric lunchbox. I have never heard about something like this before. Seems pretty cool if you want to keep your lunches hot or something like that while you're at work. Next up, I pulled out this wired keyboard. Now, one thing when you take all these loot boxes, you got to take them with a grain of salt because you never know what you're going to get. I just so happen to really need a wired keyboard at work, so I'm pretty happy I got this item. Next up, I pulled out this 5-in-1 port hub. It's basically one central docking station for a multitude of different charging equipment that you might need, and it just has one output plug to put in to charge all your equipment at once. Pretty cool little item. Can't say I'll use it much, but it's still pretty cool to have around. The next item I was pretty confused of when I pulled it out of the box because of the lack of writing that was on the packaging, so I couldn't tell until I opened it. But it turned out to be these really cool light-up pods. There's 8 pods inside of one box, and it comes with 2 remotes that you can plug in, and one of these pods actually had batteries attached to it, so I was able to kind of test it out a little bit. Super bright, pretty cool stuff to put on your room. I think there's a strobe feature and like 16 different colors to choose from. Next up is a very essential item for any content creator that takes the craft seriously. This is a ring light. I've really needed a ring light. I am, in case you haven't noticed, a little older than most on TikTok and am a little bit behind the time. So I definitely needed a ring light. My wife is always telling me to get a ring light, so now I finally have a ring light thanks to Lost Loots. This is awesome. The next item, not so much. As I said, when you get these loot boxes, you're kind of taking a little bit of a risk. You know, you might get good stuff, you might get grabby stuff. This is not my favorite item in the entire box by far. It is a quality air detector. Not something I necessarily needed. I could find probably use for it, but I'd probably better off giving it to somebody who actually needs an air quality detector. And after fishing through a bunch of packing peanuts in the box, guys, I finally found the last item and probably the best item in the entire box. It's a fitness tracker. It's just like a Fitbit. It takes your pulse. It tells the time. Super cool stuff if you want to stay active. Obviously, I need to work on that a little bit, and they must have known that when they sent me the box, so I got this. I think the price of this probably covers the entire box, so definitely worth the money. And there you have it, guys. All of the items from the Lost Loots box. Super cool stuff. I'm super excited about it. Very appreciative. But we got one more box to open. It's the Rare Munchies. Let's get it. So Rare Munchies is just what you would expect it to be. It's a lot of candy and chips and snacks that are pretty rare to find, at least in the States. It's all over the world type stuff. I don't even know where most of this stuff is, but I'm super excited to try it. Let's get into it. The first snack I grabbed was a little bit of a dud for me. It's these Lay's potato chips, but they're these barbecue smokehouse flavor, which doesn't seem like it should be that rare, but it's probably that rare because it just really wasn't very good. They taste like really tangy to me, and maybe it's just my palate is used to a certain chip, but this ain't it. The next snack, though, is probably my absolute favorite in the entire box. It's these Jello Candy squares. And I don't know how to describe the taste more than like it's like Sour Patch Kids, but not too sour, if that makes any sense. It's something that you'd really have to try for yourself. So if you can get your hands on this candy, by all means, try. It's really, really good. I wish it would be sold in the States. The next snack, though, was a little bit of a shocker to me because the bag seemed to have burst in shipping. So there was chips all over the box, and the chips obviously were stale, even though I did try them. But it's these Ruffles, and the Ruffles taste very good. It's like a culmination, though, of all these different dressings. So it's like all seasonings combined. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good, but I just wish the box didn't burst in shipping. Next up are these box of Smarties. Now, when you think Smarties in the States, you think that these chalky, hard candies that are okay. I mean, they're generic little candies. And I wish I kind of read the box before I pop one in my mouth because they are not like the Smarties in the States. They resemble more like milk chocolate M&Ms. They're really good. They taste just like milk chocolate M&Ms. So if you've had M&Ms, you've had these Smarties. Next up is this Kit Kat. Now, obviously, we have Kit Kats here, and you can't really see it very well in the video, but this is a popcorn-flavored Kit Kat. Super unique type flavor to have, but it goes well with a Kit Kat. It kind of tastes like a Kit Kat with corn pops mixed into it, so it's pretty good. Next up are these Haribo Fruit Mania candy. I hope I pronounced that right. This is, if I were to give it a description, it tastes like a gummy vitamin with a little bit more flavor. So there's There's strawberries and cherries and orange and all that stuff. Anything you'd find here in the States. It's a pretty good candy. I couldn't necessarily say that it's the best candy I ever had, but it's like the gummy candy you would get here. Next up is a product I've always wanted to try. I've seen it in 1,000 candy videos. It's this Dove milk chocolate bar, but it's mixed with matcha. So what matcha is a green tea extract. It's actually really good. Has this very natural sweetness to it, and it pairs very well with the chocolate. The matcha can tend to be a little bit overpowering, but it's a very unique flavor of chocolate to have. Next up is something I could have sworn I tried before in the past, but I could be mistaken. It's called an O. Henry bar. It's basically a milk chocolate bar that's infused, and I mean infused with peanuts. There's like almost more peanuts than there is chocolate. It's really good. Again, peanuts tend to be a little bit overpowering, but it's pretty good. Next up, I got some Trolleys. Now, Trolleys are just like gummy worms that you'd have here in the States, but they're kind of wrapped together. They're not like stuck. I thought they were stuck at first, but they're wrapped together, woven together. And the texture of them, it's like that of stale licorice. They're really tough to bite into, which I kind of like in gummy candy. So it's a good candy. I dig it. And finally, this is the absolute creme de la creme of the entire box. A very rare item indeed, and it's easy to see why. These are Oreos, but the Oreos are actually peach on one side and green grape on the other, which already doesn't sound good. And I can tell you it doesn't taste a whole lot better. The grape flavor especially, it tastes like almost, it's like something you would have in like really concentrated juice or something. And it just doesn't belong in an Oreo. It's probably like super popular overseas, wherever it is from, but it's just, I couldn't get past like a couple bites. It's really rough to eat. And that wraps up the Rare Munchies video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Really cool things in this box. Not stuff that you'd probably eat like all the time, but just to say that you had it and you've experienced things that are around other parts of the world, it's a pretty cool feeling to have. And once again, big shout out to the homies at Rare Munchiez and Lost Loots for sending me these boxes. I tagged them down below. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.